Joining us now by phone, we have Israeli writer and senior fellow at the Tel Aviv Institute, Hanan Maziz. First of all, I want to make sure you're safe and able to speak to us. And if that is the case, could you please tell us what you know, if anything, about what's going on in your city right now and how the population is reacting, how you're feeling?
Yeah, I'm safe. I'm speaking to you from a bomb shelter in Tel Aviv, a concrete room that is meant to protect civilians like me from missiles attacks. This is the reality we live in. The streets of Tel Aviv tonight were quite empty. I think everyone was preparing. We've heard the sirens. We ran to the bomb shelter. We're terrified. We heard massive explosions. We heard that there was at least 7 people injured. Some of the missiles were striking in the center in Tel Aviv, in civilian populations. It's really terrifying and exhausting. It's our life here. So I wanted to call because I think it's important that people will know what we're dealing with right now.
And Han, we do have a shot, maybe we can put it back up, that appears to be a ground perspective, and it looks like there is some damage to possibly some apartment buildings. It looks like at least something did get through. Control room, if we could put that shot from ground level back up so our audience can see what we're talking about, that would be very helpful. I also want to ask you, I know Israel is a very diverse, pluralistic society, but we were asking some of our other folks with experience in the region how folks are feeling about possible increased tensions with Iran in a time when you're already dealing with a conflict in Gaza and an overextended, or perhaps not, but a certainly pressed military. Do Israelis have the physical and mental capacity to start another conflict with its neighbor?
I'm talking to you from a bomb shelter at 9:45 p.m. for us on Friday night. It's our holiest night. It's not something that anyone should be experiencing, to run this way for your life, for protection, and doing it several times. And last night being woken up at 3 a.m. with alerts on this war beginning, it's not something we want. It's definitely not something we were asking for. We didn't ask for the war, and I think that's the spirit in Israel today. We don't want to see this war, but we understand the need, and we are afraid from the statements that the Islamic Republic in Iran has made about erasing us and removing us from existence. So my hope is, I think the most important thing is that the people of Iran that hear me know that we see them, that we don't want to have this war, that we know this regime doesn't speak to them. I really hope that Israelis and Iranians would remember we have more in common than the governments that divide us.
I want to ask you as well, we're seeing responses from Iranian leaders. Iranian senior officials are telling Reuters, quote, "Nowhere in Israel will be safe. Our revenge will be painful." Do your sources, do people you're speaking to in the government there, do you believe what they're saying, that they had to strike now, that Iran was at a point getting close to having a capable nuclear weapon where their hand was forced, or do you think there's some gray there as to whether or not this action had to be taken at this time?
Yeah, from officials that I spoke to throughout the day, it sounded like this attack was actually planned for April. I think even Prime Minister Netanyahu mentioned it, and it was postponed, and then it was set for last night because of the threat that Israel, according to the people I spoke to, really couldn't let stand the reaching the levels of nuclear enrichment that would allow them to use a nuclear bomb. And mind you, this is not a regime that is thinking logically. It's not a regime that is hoping to achieve anything other than the complete and total annihilation of Israel. And that's not me saying or speculating. This is what every level of the Islamic Republic has said for years now. And that's what Khamenei himself, the Ayatollah, said today as well. They are looking to use this nuclear weapon to destroy Israel. So I do believe that Israel was left without any other choice than attacking last night.
Netanyahu, of course, has become an increasingly controversial figure even there in Israel. Of course, his government has survived because it made this coalition with really hardline right-wing parties. I'm wondering if you think, given that you know so much more about the politics of your country than I do, if having an open conflict with Iran strengthens or weakens Netanyahu's position and his ability, which at times has been fairly tenuous, to hold on to power?
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and it's something that myself I'm struggling with because I am an opponent of Netanyahu, and I've called out the government and its actions publicly and objected to many of the policies and the way that they have conducted the war. And however, with this issue of Iran, the Islamic Republic in Iran hasn't been a threat only to Netanyahu or only in his time. It's something that we've dealt with for years. And I think that while it's definitely serving him, I'm hoping that Israelis would remember that it's not Netanyahu that is using this strategic attacks, and it's the incredible work of the Mossad and the security forces that are operating. But it's definitely serving him, unfortunately. But I don't give him much credit as I do to the security forces and the Mossad for this really important operation to deter the Islamic Republic from achieving nuclear power that will not only harm Israel but will destabilize the entire Middle East and would threat the entire world.
All right, Chen Mazig, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to give you a break. Please stay safe, and we'll check in back with you shortly.